Good day to everyone. Before anything else, let us begin our class with a prayer.
Dear God, I praise you and I thank you for this wonderful day. Grant me the grace to understand our lesson for today, through whatever media or modality may it be, and bless me so that I may appreciate this grace of being able to study despite of the challenges we are facing because of this pandemic. Make me realize the value of education and the beauty of learning, so that each day I will be more motivated to do my responsibility as a student. Bless our classmates, that they too may see your goodness in everything and see this time as an opportunity to show our love to our parents by studying well. Bless our teachers so that they will become more inspired to teach us and see this time as an opportunity to show compassion in their chosen profession. And lastly, our parents so that they may become resilient, especially during these trying times. This we ask in your most holy name. Amen.
The global economy is also known as the world economy. When we say global economy class, there is international exchange of goods and services. There is free movement of goods, capital, services, technology, and information. Global economy is concerned with globalization of production, finance, markets, technology, organizational regimes, institutions, corporations, and labor. When people say we live in a global economy, they are talking about the interdependence of nations. When we say interdependence, there is connection, there is relation, may pagkakaugnay ang bawat isa. For example, banking and finance, which today has no local boundaries. If a giant bank in one country collapses, banks in other countries also suffer. When we talk about global economy in this context, we are referring to globalization. As you recall what I have mentioned to you last discussion, there are three subcategories of globalization: the economic, the cultural, and the political globalization. Global economy is expanding since the emergence of transnational trade and increased exponentially due to the increased rate of communication and technology. Okay, so there is the advent of the internet. The global economy has become relevant for many businesses than before. In the past, only large corporations could call themselves multinationals. But today, kahit mga small businesses can trade. Pwede sila makipagkalakalan, makipagpalitan ng products with the other companies from any parts of the world. The bottom line here is that the advance of communication and technology has changed many of basic features of global economy. Okay? So the creation of World Trade Organizations made countries cut down trade barriers and open up their current accounts and capital accounts. So ladies and gentlemen, when we say trade barriers, it is something that prevents a foreign product from freely entering into a certain country. Basically speaking, there are restrictions on international trade imposed by the government. May mga tax na binabayaran yung mga businessman every time they import and export goods and services. Okay? But because of the World Trade Organization or what we call the WTO, na-limit ngayon yung pagkakaroon ng trade barriers. By the way, the WTO is the only international organization dealing with the global rules of trade. Ano naman ngayon ang function nitong WTO or World Trade Organizations? Its main function is to ensure that trade flows as smoothly and freely as possible. Okay, moving on to market integration. Okay, so if prices among different location or related goods follow the same pattern over a long period of time, then market integration exists. When group of prices often move proportionally to each other, and when this relation is very clear among different markets, then market is integrated. An example of market integration, my dear students, is the Coca-Cola Company. Okay, so let's have a brief history of the Coca-Cola Company. This company started in 1886 and they maintained the same price for a very long period of time, delivering to the militaries in the United States until it reaches over 200 countries in the world. So this company, of course, tried to market beverages at very low price in order for them to expand their business in other countries. They also made sure that their price is marketable to the same foreign countries because different countries have different cultures and they also have different buying cultures. That is why they need to have a good strategy in order to move and sell their goods or product from one country to another. That is an example of market integration. Okay? So market integration is an indicator how much different markets are related to each other. In today's global economy, more and more businesses are selling beyond their borders. Kumbaga, limited na ang restrictions. That is why if you're a businessman and gusto mong i-promote yung goods and services mo, there is a need for you to have an effective global marketing strategy. Magaling ka dapat magbenta, magaling ka dapat mag-offer ng goods and services, magaling ka dapat mag-sales stock. To think na ang dami mo ng kakompetensya sa market. Okay? Moving on to the next, the role of international financial institutions in the creation of global economy. So international financial institutions or IFI are chartered by more than one country and therefore are subjects to international law. The owners or shareholders are generally national governments, although other international institutions and other organizations occasionally figure as shareholder. Example, if the Philippines is a member of this financial institution, automatically our country is one of the shareholders and our country has the right to borrow money from it, to be able to use it for the country's progress and development. Okay, kung part tayo ng organization na to, then pwede tayong umutang dito sa institution na to. Okay, para sa development, sa progress ng Philippines. Okay, most of the prominent IFIs are creations of multiple nations, although some bilateral financial institutions, so when we say bilateral, it means created by two countries. Okay, so it exists and are technically IFIs. So what are these international financial institutions? Number one, we have here the International Monetary Fund or the IMF. It is an international organization headquartered in Washington, D.C. It is an organization of 190 countries. So meaning to say 190 countries ang members ng International Monetary Fund as of now. Okay? So they are working to foster global monetary cooperation, secure financial stability, facilitate international trade, promote high employment and sustainable economic growth, and of course, reduce poverty around the world. The second one is the multilateral development banks, which include the following. So let's start with the World Bank Group. WBG is a family of 5 international organizations that make leverage loans to developing countries. Where do we belong? I mean, the Philippines. Developed countries, developing countries, or underdeveloped countries. Okay, so the Philippines belongs to developing countries. The World Bank is an international organization dedicated to providing financing, advice, and research to developing nations to aid their economic advancement. The bank predominantly acts as an organization that attempts to fight poverty by offering developmental assistance to middle and low-income countries. Okay, so ang Philippines kabilang tayo sa may developing countries. So meaning to say, nasa average level lang tayo, nasa gitna tayo. Sino ba yung mga bansa na kabilang sa developed countries? For example, the USA, ang Russia, ang Japan, okay? Ang Philippines, kabilang tayo sa developing. Okay, nasa gitna tayo. Next here, we have the African Development Bank. The ADF contributes to poverty reduction and economic and social development in the least developed African countries by providing concessional funding for projects and programs, as well as technical assistance for studies and capacity building activities. So basically, African Development Bank are exclusive for African countries. Okay. Next one, we have Asian Development Bank. So the ADB is committed to achieving a prosperous, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable Asia and the Pacific while sustaining its efforts to eradicate extreme poverty. It assists its members and partners by providing loans, technical assistance, grants, and equity investments to promote social and economic development. Okay? For the Inter-American Development Bank, okay, or IDB, it works to improve the lives in Latin America and Caribbean through financial and technical support for countries working to reduce poverty and inequality. IDB helps to improve health and education and advance infrastructure. Their aim is to achieve development in a sustainable, climate-friendly way. Okay, so gaya din ng iba pang bank, they provide loans, grants, and technical assistance, and they also conduct extensive research. The IDB prioritizes social inclusion and equality, productivity and innovation, and regional economic integration in its development work across Latin America and Caribbean. In doing so, it addresses the cross-cutting issues of gender equality and diversity, climate change and environmental sustainability, and institutional capacity and the rule of law. And for the last one, we have here the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. So the EBRD is an international institution whose members comprise 60 countries, the European Community, and the European Investment Bank. Its purpose is to foster the economic and democratic transition process and to promote private and entrepreneurial initiative in those countries through provision of loans, equity investments, and technical cooperation. The bank is directed its agreement to promote, in the full range of its activities, environmentally sound and sustainable development. Wow, so this is something different, okay? This institution promotes entrepreneurial initiative. Basically, they are setting the people to have an entrepreneurial mind. Alam nyo naman sa Philippines, my dear students, maraming naghahanap ng trabaho. Look for a job and not to create jobs. It's really important that we should have a mindset of creating jobs by starting to put up a business, even if it is a small business. Okay? We know for a fact that even if it is not so big business, if the people are earning to have a living and savings, then they are trying to help the country's economy. Okay? Take note of that. Moving on to the membership compositions of IFI. Sino ba yung mga qualified para mapabilang sa IFI? Number 1, only sovereign countries are admitted as member owner. So when we say sovereign, it is often describes a person who has a supreme power or authority, gaya ng king and queen. Nations and states are also sometimes described as sovereign. This means that they have the power over themselves. Their government is under their control rather than under the control of an outside authority. Number 2, broad country membership to include borrowing developing countries and developed donor countries. Number 3, membership in regional development banks include countries around the world as members. And last one, it has its own independent legal and operational states. So what are the main objectives? First, IMF provides temporary financial assistance to member countries to help ease balance of payments adjustments. Second, the MDB or the Multilateral Development Bank provides financing for development to developing countries through long-term loans, and its maturities is up to 20 years. Okay, so we have here the long-term loans and very long-term loans. Long-term loans at interest rates way below market rates. Saan naman nanggagaling yung fund sa long-term loans? Funding comes from international capital markets and relent to borrowing government in developing countries. Imagine, if our government borrowed money from this financial institution, then it will be paid for 20 years. So imagine, ganun katagal. Next, we have the very long-term loan. Sometimes it is called credits with maturities of 30 to 40 years at interest rates below market rates. Saan naman nanggagaling ang funds dito? Funding for loans come from direct contributions by government in the donor countries. And last one, grant financing by some MDBs for technical assistance advisory service or project preparation. Now, for the last slide, let us proceed to global corporations. Global corporation is known as global economy. It is coined from the base term global, which means all around the world. Global corporation is one that operates in more than one country. Global corporation is generally referred to as multinational corporation. So take note of that. Okay, so it is mentioned already that the term global means around the world. But if you are operating in one country and you are selling products around the world and shipping them to customer countries, for example, in Europe, okay, binebenta mo sa Europe yung products mo while you are here in the Philippines, it does not mean that you are already a global company. You know, it takes more than that to earn the name global company. So for you to become global company, you need to introduce not only your product but also your company or your business to people who live in another country. Okay? Michael Porter at Harvard University defined global businesses as one that maintains a strong headquarters in one country, but it has investments in multiple foreign locations. So the headquarters is its home country. Global corporations strive to create economies of scale by selling the same products in multiple locations and limiting local customization. Okay, in the world of finance and investment, a global corporation is one that has significant investments and facilities in multiple countries, but it lacks a dominant headquarters. Global corporations are governed by the laws of the country where they are incorporated. A global business connects its talents, resources, and opportunities across global boundaries. An international company is one that has a headquarters, for example, in the United States, but also does business overseas and might have a large presence in multiple areas. Such company would be governed by U.S. regulations, assuming its headquarters remain in U.S., but may also have foreign subsidiary which is governed by local laws. I have told you a while ago that Coca-Cola Company started in 1886. You know what? Coca-Cola maintains 5 cents in the market, which also struggled to get by. But now, Coca-Cola sells its beverages in more than 200 countries around the world. Okay? So that explains our lecture for Chapter 2, the Global Economy. Thank you so much for